As you will have seen from the title, this video is a bit different, in a sense. I wanted to discuss some things that wouldn't fit in a normal train simulator or train sim world video, and this one will mostly comprise TS Classic footage recorded over a journey from Stranraer Harbour to Newton Stewart, as well as a variety of real footage. Our noble steed for today's journey is the LNER A1/1 Pacific number 4470 Great Northern, but this won't be an unedited gameplay recording. Instead, I'll just be talking over a montage of run-by shots of the A1/1 passing various locations on the line, and meeting random engines as she goes along. I started this channel in 2015, but it wasn't until 2019 when I started uploading videos on a regular basis, and the Train Sim World reviews began in 2022, with TS Classic joining the flock in 2023. I don't make these reviews to get attention from the developers, or any kind of attention/success for that matter. I simply enjoy the process of reviewing Train Simulator or Train Sim World DLC, as frustrating as TSW can be. Incidentally, the TSW reviews have turned out to be the most popular content on this channel, with lots of people agreeing with what I have to say. Obviously, not everyone agrees, and that's fine, but I would prefer it if people can at least respect my opinions. In any case, I value independence and honesty, so I have no commercial connections to any developers. There are two main reasons why my video output has been so high over the last 2 months. One of them is that it's all done in an effort to take my mind off all the crazy shit going on in the world, not just in my personal life, but everywhere else, although I won't discuss any political stuff here as this is not a political channel. In any case, let's just say that there are some people that I still know from high school and I thought most of them were still friends, but these days, most of them seem too busy to take any notice of me, and for reasons that not even I understand, I've struggled to let them go, as it were, for the longest time. Luckily, there's at least one friend who can still keep in touch with me on a regular basis, and I've known her for at least 20 years at this point. For the sake of her privacy, her name will not be mentioned. As for the other main reason behind my high video output, that is something more bizarre, in a sense. I don't know why this is the case, but I've realised that I seem borderline incapable of allowing myself to rest for any significant length of time, outside of going to sleep at night. I get very tired on a frequent basis these days, and yet part of me is still saying words to the effect of, "You've got to keep up the grind." It's a deeper issue that I simply don't understand. There's an obscure Toni Basil song by the name of Easy For You To Say. It's track number 8 out of 9 on her second album, of 1983, and for the longest time, I thought it was the weakest song on the album. I have since come around to liking Easy For You To Say, with one of the things I like about the song being the presence of a good bass line, as is also the case on another obscure song from Toni Basil. The song in question is Spacewalkin' the Dog. The eerie atmosphere of Easy For You To Say reminds me of the west coast of the South Island, especially when it's raining on the west coast. What follows is an example of that sort of weather in that part of the country. Toni Basil herself has writing credits for 4 out of the 9 songs on that album, but Easy For You To Say is not one of them, as it was instead written by Dennis Lambert and Peter Beckett, whoever they are, and the lyrics didn't make much sense to me for the longest time. On the afternoon of Sunday the 5th of October 2025, I was at the Island Block Road railway crossing between Mercer and Huntly, when something randomly clicked, and I realised what the song could be about. I think it's about someone being concerned over a friend of theirs who's in an abusive relationship, if the lyrics in the verses are anything to go by, and the chorus is the friend's response to the narrator's concern. However, Toni doesn't change her singing style for the chorus, so for the longest time, I didn't realise that the chorus lyrics were meant to be from another person's perspective. I find the bus network here in the city of Tauranga to be decent, although there is an awful lot of room for improvement, especially where the main bus stops on Durham Street in the city centre are concerned. Another thing I find annoying is the destination displays on the Enviro 200 buses themselves, as they can be harder to read depending on the light levels and the angle from which you're looking at the bus as it approaches. If someone who's not even 30 years old yet struggles to read them, I can only imagine how difficult it would be for elderly folks, especially if they have low vision. I reckon these diesel Enviro 200s, of which there are 91 in the fleet, should be modified with white destination displays, just like what the electric buses are equipped with. Those displays are much easier to read from a distance. Incidentally, there are only 5 electric buses in the Tauranga fleet, and they're all Enviro 200 MMCs built in 2019, using a mix of Alexander Dennis and BYD parts. I find it so bizarre that the railway line out of Gisborne goes across an airport's runway. It's even weirder when you're actually going along the line aboard a train, as Joe Public wouldn't normally get to go on any part of an airport's property other than the terminal, and, in the case of small regional airports like this one, marked out paths on the tarmac. The last time I went to Gisborne was in June 2023, with the main purpose of that trip being to see steam locomotive WA165 in operation. No KiwiRail trains have run to Gisborne since 2012, when severe weather caused 4 washouts on the track north of Wairoa, thus leaving the seasonal excursion trains to Muriwai, hauled by WA165 or DSC 2759, as the only rail activity left in the area, so that makes the airport runway situation all the more unusual, if you ask me. So far, I've only been to Gisborne twice in my life, but even then, and aside from the situation with the railway crossing the runway, there's something else about the city that I still like, though I just can't pick it. I could go on for much longer about additional random thoughts, but I think I've brought up enough of them as it is. As angry and cynical as I can often be, I'm still holding out hope for things to turn around where my mental health is concerned. I recently discovered an upcoming community event in my city that's meant to be all about neurodivergent people, so I'm thinking I'll give that a shot despite being worried about the possibility of it turning into a complete disaster, just like a youth group I tried attending in 2021. Anyway, I recently started working on videos about the LNER A3 Pacific in TS Classic, the Portshaven branch, that's a freeware route for TS, and the Frankfurt S-Bahn in TSW, and I intended to get those videos done within the next week. After that, I might try to take a break from video production, but the silly part is that I don't know if I can commit to the idea. In any case, there are some interesting things happening on New Zealand's railways over the next month or two, including DC 4818 and DBR 1254 coming to Tauranga, if what I've read on the Glenbrook Vintage Railways website is anything to go by, so I'll make an effort to go out and film as much of that activity as I can. Until next time, thank you all for watching.